Hi friends, happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. It is Live with Lacey, your publisher from Pandamonium Publishing House. I'm Lacey, and I'm so glad that you are here. We are answering questions again that have been sent in by authors, readers, and people who just want to know. So today we're going to be talking about things like ISBNs, copyrights, the biggest mistakes that first-time authors do when they are pitching their books, and a whole bunch of other things. So I hope that you're ready for some good information, and I hope that this is valuable to you and that you're going to use it in your writing journey. Okay, so the first question here is, what is the difference between an ISBN and copyright? So an ISBN and copyright, who owns what? So this is a great question. So an ISBN is an International Standard Book Number. And that's basically like your book identifier. So we can track where it is in the distribution system. We can see what the sales are. That number is connected to your book. So we can actually search by ISBNs and see where it is, where it's available, the sales tracking information, and a whole bunch of data from that. A copyright is something that is registered in the creator's name. So the author or the illustrator, they own the copyright of the content within the book. So let me just back up for a second. So the ISBNs, or International Standard Book Numbers, are generated for publishers in Canada. They're free. We get blocks of them from the government. So they'll send us between 10 and 100 at a time. And then every time we publish a book, or a different version of that book, so maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's an audiobook, we have an International Standard Book Number attached to that to show what book it is, what medium it's attached to, so whether it's in print or it's digital, and that allows us to track all of that data with that book, okay? So the copyright is what is registered to the creator of the content. So for example, let's say that you wrote a manuscript and we publish it for you, then we would have that copyright registered in your name because you're the owner of the work. And that's that page, like when you're flipping through a book, the second one usually after that vignette page, or the title page that some people call it, that's where that information comes in. That's saying, the copyright number, the copyright registration, the ISBN number, it's saying not to be reproduced or copied in any manner, that sort of stuff. So that's where that is. And they're equally important. So the publisher owns the ISBN, okay? And then the author or creator of the work owns the copyright. So that's the difference, okay? The publishers are registered obviously with the government, and that's why we're given those big blocks of ISBNs at a time. Okay, so that was a great question. Because it's tricky to know what's the difference, right? The biggest mistake, what is the biggest mistake first-time authors make when pitching their book? Okay, this is a good question too. So we always want to know where you see your book in the marketplace. So when you're sending in your submissions and following the submission guidelines, a lot of publishers will have on their site that they want you to kind of tell us where your book fits in the marketplace. Are there comparables to your book? Is there something that you can kind of tell us where we can look at that and say, yeah, this is comparable to that? Or is this the place that the book is going to fit on the shelf type of thing, okay? So the biggest mistake that I see first-time authors make when pitching their books to publishers is that they compare their stuff to very, very famous writers or bestsellers or authors. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to say this is the next Harry Potter, or this is better than Harry Potter, for example, or this is, right up there and this is going to blow Harry Potter out of the water type of thing. Respectfully, it probably is not going to. Okay. But also, that's not the kind of comparison that we want, okay? Because that's an immediate kind of turn off, and we're just like, oh, now I'm going in with this huge expectation because, you know, we have this series of best-selling books that is just like phenomenal and has sold globally around the world. Now we're going in with that expectation of this better be better than that, right? Because you've said it was. So what we're looking for instead is where you're going to put your book in the marketplace. Like comparable titles in terms of genre, maybe the same themes, maybe similar themes. So in a bookstore, where would you put your book on the shelf? That's kind of the comparison that we're looking for, rather than saying, you know, my book is the next Harry Potter and it's going to be this, that, and the other. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake that I see first-time authors make when they're pitching their manuscripts to publishers. Okay, next question. What is the most ridiculous book title you've ever come across? Okay, so this one isn't the most ridiculous, but this is the most scandalous. So one of my authors, Paul Mascarella, he wrote the book Machinia, which is an amazing science fiction novel. He contacted me after we were like talking about titles for his book, and we had decided on one. And I think it was like 2:00 in the morning or something like that. I was still up doing work, and he emailed me and he's like, we have a problem. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And he's like, well, the title of my book that we were going to publish it under is actually like a very explicit adult act. So I can't say much more than that because I don't want this video to get taken down. But it was something that was very, very specific and very explicit in terms of like an adult act. So that is the most, not ridiculous book title I've ever heard, but the most scandalous for sure. We had a great laugh over it. I think afterwards, like once things kind of settled down and we weren't in panic mode anymore, we had a good laugh about it, and we changed the title. So I can't tell you what the title was before, but I will tell you that the title of Paul's book is called Machinia. You can get it on Amazon, Chapters, Kohl's, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, all those places, and our website, pandamoniumpublishing.com/shop. Check out the reviews, too. He's got stellar reviews. It is such a great science fiction novel, and if you don't have it, you need to add it to your collection. Okay, so next question. Is it better to have a completed manuscript before submitting to a publisher, or just a strong proposal? Ugh, okay. So you definitely should have your manuscript completed, 1000%. So picture it this way, okay? So you're looking to buy a house, and you give your wish list to your real estate agent, and you say, you know what? I want a walk-in closet, I want a chef's kitchen, I want an infinity pool, I want it to be on 100 acres, this is my budget, this is kind of exactly what I want. You give them your wish list, okay? And that real estate agent comes back to you and says, okay, I found your dream home. You get so excited, right? But then they say to you, but it's not for sale. Okay, so that's what happens to publishers when we get a book proposal where the manuscript isn't done, or we get a manuscript that is incomplete and we're loving every minute of it. I have only published one author in my entire career where the manuscript wasn't completed before she submitted it to me. And that is something that I completely lucked out on because it usually doesn't happen that way. And because she's such an amazing person and a wonderful writer, and I knew that she could do it and I believed in her, was the only reason why I accepted that manuscript that was not completed. Because normally it's a no from me. If it's not done, I can't take the chance of falling in love with this manuscript and then it not being available or not being completed or, you know, not turning out the way that I thought it would. So that book that I published with the manuscript that was incomplete, the one and only probably the first and last of my career in terms of accepting something that wasn't done, is written by Annalise Lawton, and it's called Welcome to the Jungle, and it's her journey through motherhood. That's another book. If you haven't read it, pick it up, because it is so raw, it is so real, and you are absolutely going to love it, whether you have kids or not. Okay, it is so good. So that's Welcome to the Jungle. Again, available Chapters, Kohl's, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, on our website, all of those great places. So the short answer for that, now that I've given you the very long answer, is complete your manuscript, okay? Complete it. Don't be the person who has the wish list and then it's not available. Like, we're the people who are like, we want this so badly, but it's not for sale type of thing, okay? All right, so the next question was, what is the best way to build a loyal reader base? That's a good question too. So to build a loyal reader base, what you want to do is you want to be authentic as an author, okay? You want to be who you are in front of your readers. They're going to want to know the questions behind kind of the book. So they want the story behind the story. Let's put it that way. So why did you write this book? What were you going through? How did you decide that these are the characters that you were going to pick? You know, what are some stories from your real life? Some random things too, like what do you do when you're not writing? Those kind of questions. So with your readers, you want to be exactly who you say you are, because authenticity matters, okay? And also, you want to engage with your audience. You want to engage with the people online and your readers in person, and people that take the time to write comments on your stuff. You should respond to them, because not only is it just polite and courtesy, but it's also building those relationships and allowing them to feel, and you to feel like you have a connection. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for connections. And to be able to connect with readers who have really kind of, you know, made our careers, they're the reasons why we get to do what we do. You owe them that, I think, to respond to their inquiries and to their questions and to their heartfelt, really want to know behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, there's stuff that you should keep private, and I'm not a fan of ever responding to, you know, mean comments or things like that. But I do believe that, you know, most people want to ask you some really great questions. They just want to get to know you, and they want to have that connection. So why not be authentic? Why not take the time to just say, hey, thanks so much for your comment. This is what I do when I'm not writing, or whatever it is. And then the other thing you want to do too, to build a loyal reader base, is you want to be consistent. So make sure that you're posting consistently. Make sure that you're going to events consistently. Make sure that you're putting out content consistently. All of this stuff really matters, because it helps build your brand as an author, but it also lets your readers know that you're listening to them. And that's the most important thing for sure. Okay, so what is the best way to protect your book before it's published? Okay. So that kind of lends back to the whole copyright thing. So in Canada and in the United States, so let's say North America, you are the owner of the work as soon as it's created, automatically. Okay, so let me just give you an example. So let's say that you are writing a manuscript, and you're going to send it into a publisher, but this is such a good idea and you don't want them to steal it. Like, that never happens, okay? Very, very rarely does that happen. And honestly, publishers are too busy and they have so many manuscripts to choose from that them stealing something from you is not only unethical, but it's probably not going to happen, okay? We would never do that. We would never take something, you know, and spin it as our own idea. So I want you to know that most people are really good people and they wouldn't even think of doing that. Now, that being said, the law in North America is anytime you put pen to paper or brush stroke to canvas or, you know, whatever you're creating, you're the automatic owner of that work. So there's a little bit more to that though. What I would recommend is using Google Docs or Word or something to create your work when you're an author and have a time stamp on it, okay? So email it to yourself, whatever it is, so that if you ever had to prove that you were the owner of that work, you would be able to, okay? So yeah, you're the automatic owner of the work, whether it's registered with copyright or not, because that's the law in North America. But that being said, if you ever had to prove it, you want to make sure that you have that proof. So using Word, using Google Docs, emailing it to yourself, all of those are really great ideas, because then you can prove, on December the 31st, 2024, I had emailed this to myself, and here's the timestamp. Here's when that happened, and then someone's taken your idea, down the road, or used your words or whatever it is. That's something that is very valuable if it ever came to that point. And I honestly hope it never comes to that point for you or for anyone else, because, hijacking someone else's work is just not cool and really, really bad karma. So that being said, if you have any questions that you want to send in to pandapublishing8@gmail.com, I will get them and I will answer them. And I hope that you're enjoying our little series of Live with Lacey, Ask the Publisher from Pandamonium Publishing House. We have some events coming up that I will notify you of, different book events and things like that. We have a whole bunch of brand new books coming out in 2025. We've got new projects. We're working on all kinds of things. And if you ever want to take a second to continue your education as an author, you can check out our website, pandamoniumpublishing.com. And if you go to a tab that says Learn with Us, you'll see all the courses, classes, and workshops that we offer that can help you improve your craft. So I hope everybody has a really great Friday. Thanks for sitting with me. Thanks for sending in the questions. And if there's anything you want to know, pandapublishing8@gmail.com, and I will answer that. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel and our TikTok, Pandemonium Publishing House. Have a great Friday.